welcome everyone to Live New York's Live to Learn series on digital equity here today. My name is Pedro Suarez, and I am the program director here at Live New York. And I'd like to first start off by thanking the Liberty Coca-Cola team for hosting our series here today, and also thank the support and participation of the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation. They're really supportive of conversations around digital equity across the city. I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about why we're here and give a little bit of background as to what led to this conversation. Live New York has been doing a lot of work in the Bronx and beyond with New Yorkers, particularly parents of small children, over the last 20 years. And one of the things that has always been, I think, a part of the conversations in supporting families for economic mobility has been digital access and digital equity. But the COVID pandemic really exacerbated and highlighted that a lot of the problems associated with the digital divide that exists in the Bronx and other communities still exists and has gotten worse. And so we recognize that with New York that we need to support families on making sure they have digital access, internet access, devices, and also the ability to use the software on these devices in order to really succeed in their goals. And so we recognize that we needed to step in and continue to support these families through really strategic and important partnerships over the last couple of years. And so this work has involved partnering with private entities such as the Century Tech Foundation, as well as Webster Bank, the nonprofit sector. We've also recognized that we need to partner with the city and the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation to continue these conversations and really promote partnerships that create access to equity, as we cannot do this work alone. So we know that it's possible to create this access for folks and to build folks' skills, but really it's also about what's next and what's missing. And we recognize that digital literacy alone is not enough, that it also requires skills that really create opportunities to continue and support people on their career pathways. And so we know that additional resources are needed, investments are needed, partnerships are needed to move this work forward. And so we're very hopeful with partnerships like those with Liberty Coca-Cola and support from the city, from the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation, that there are many opportunities to support families on their path to economic mobility. And so we're really excited to continue this conversation today. I want to take some time to also acknowledge the Live New York team, our executive director, Sumaro Romain, who's in the room as well today, and the rest of the Live New York team who helped to really put this panel together in partnership with Liberty Coca-Cola. I'd like to introduce now Maria Galich, who proudly leads Liberty's IT and digital organization with over 15 years of diverse and progressive IT experience in digital information, software delivery, management, and development. Maria brings a wide range of leadership expertise to our panel from her various IT roles within the Coca-Cola system across the globe. Maria joined Coca-Cola in 2007 and has held several leadership roles of increasing responsibility, supporting the supply chain, finance, and commercial functions across the Coca-Cola system internationally. Before joining Coca-Cola, Maria also worked for Delta Airlines in process engineering, logistics, and line maintenance optimization. She holds a BS in industrial engineering from GA Tech and MBA GA State University. Maria currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia, with a loving husband, 2 children, and supportive family. She is passionate about serving her community, traveling the world, and loving her people. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We welcome you all to Liberty Coca-Cola. We're in our Bronx facility. Thank you, Pedro, for the very kind introduction that I know you wrote yourself. And I would really just like to, thank you and welcome you here to Liberty Coca-Cola. And for those of you that don't know about Liberty Coca-Cola, we are the proud bottler for our local tri-state community here in we work in Jersey, Pennsylvania. And we do everything from selling, producing, distributing Coca-Cola and all of the best brands, beverage portfolio, to our local community. And the L in Liberty stands for local, and we're very passionate about serving the communities that we work and live in. And so that's something that I personally am very passionate about. And over my 15 years with the Coca-Cola system, I've been lucky enough to travel the world and always made it a priority for every country that I served and worked in, Vietnam, India, Argentina, wherever we were. We always served the community and made sure that we made time in every work trip that we did to make sure that we connected with the people and made sure that we were partnering together to make our community better. And couldn't be prouder to be here today. And I thank you all for being here. And I'm very honored to be here with these lovely people that I have been virtually meeting over the last few weeks, but it's finally meet in person, so apologies for just for the time. Especially here we have Mr. Brett Leacock, who is the executive director from the governor's OCI office. From the franchise, he's the city's franchise director, and he's responsible for providing commercial telecommunication services, broadband, 5G, all of those types of things to the community. He oversees all of those efforts to expand access to affordable broadband and support digital literacy training through targeted programs for the community. Very passionate. And then we have Ms. Beverly. A lovely Beverly, graduate of MCU New York Metropolitan College of New York, and a current graduate student at the college studying organization. Sorry, and Beverly is a proud Live New York member and deeply understands the needs of student parents like herself, and sees many opportunities ahead with this guy. You know, this is one of our fantastic leaders at Liberty Coca-Cola, Jonathan Rivera, leads our cybersecurity space and is he has over 10 years of experience in the field, and he started his career as a help desk technician 10 years ago. We were actually talking last night over dinner about his story, actually, about in high school when someone gave him a laptop. What do I do? Just to think where he started and where he is now, but he's a very integral part of the Liberty Coca-Cola team. He's been with us for 3 years, but has been critical in setting up the foundation of our cybersecurity team, our training program, investigating a lot of our cyber breaches, and we've not been breached since I've been here. And we're very lucky, happy to have him here. And then to start that off, I mean, essentially a big part of why we're here today, the context of the conversation is again to talk about how we can address the public and private partnerships to strengthen this work. So our first question today, get right into it, Mr. Brent. Or no, I'm going to start with Beverly. Oh, not introduced.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I apologize. So, you guys heard me okay? No?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
good? Okay,
Thank you so much.
okay, great. So we'll start with Beverly. Beverly, talk to us a little bit today, if you don't mind, about how you found yourself in your experience.
Honestly, I was actually an undergrad. I found a flyer at school, and I'm like, what is this? And then I've seen something about lift coaching. And as a case manager myself at the time, I'm like, I'm always providing support for other people, but at this point in time, I have a toddler, I'm married, just everything, life is life, and like, that's not a term, but life is going on, life is life. So I needed somebody to back me up. So when I seen that, I immediately reached out, and it's just been awesome to have a little coach, just a cheerleader, support, somebody that can support me instead of me supporting them at work. So it's been a great.
And then, what are some of your goals, sort of, as you navigate the digital space?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The transition from, I've always had like Microsoft, so getting a Chrome laptop from Lyft has been kind of a transition, so transferring from Microsoft, everything is Google. It's not like the same exact software, so I've been able to try to navigate and learn the transition from Microsoft into Google and the transfer of applications. So I've been trying to manage that part.
That leads me to a great question for you, Mr. Brett. You talked to us about the things that the office has been doing kind of in that space as it relates to expanding digital equity for New Yorkers like Mr. Beverly here.
That's a question that's very inspiring. So maybe I'll just start off and talk a little bit about how I got here, why I'm so passionate about what we're doing. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. So I grew up in Brooklyn in public housing. My mom, the old-fashioned story, and went on that a beautiful Hispanic woman. We got together, we moved in together. She lived in the Bronx. I followed her to the Bronx. She had a nicer apartment, so we moved in together, and then later on had children and raising them. Why I say that is I have a personal connection to everything that we are doing, everything that this administration is doing to ensure digital equity across the ensure folks have access to all the material, all the information, all the data, all the services that they need. So deserve. So at the heart of everything that this Adams administration does, Chief Technology Officer Matthew Frazier is doing is about a problem. Stuff that I'm not personally involved with, police equity, health safety, health equity, broadband. That's really what we're going to focus on. And as mentioned, and we've heard about the pandemic kind of raised attention to the need that is out there right now. The school systems sent kids home with laptops and hotspots and said, spend for yourself, do the best you can. And, they did the best they could. And because of that, and we recognized that there were inherent problems with giving them cellular connections. Some of these buildings were before, having big walls that cellular connections just didn't do the trick. So what we sought to do was bring people wired home internet, high speed, wired to their apartments, to get the great experience that everyone should have, that they need to have to connect with academically or from a workforce development standpoint. So the big initiative that the Adams administration came in with was, let's do something right now to help remote. So that's our public housing. People who live in NYCHA, this is what I do for 20 years of my life, who have been historically shut out. They haven't received the services that they deserve, and they just given them leads. So while we have plans to do some longer range solution initiatives to provide additional companies that compete with the internet marketplace, we wanted to help the now problem. So Big Apple Connect provides high-speed wired internet to units within NYCHA facilities, public housing, as well as people who basically. So if you're already using you want to do something to outpiece and charter, you will not get the bill will be wiped out. If you have no service, you have no internet prior to it, sign up with one of the companies, mention which building you live in, if you're in one of the eligible buildings, we're expanding every few weeks for adding more buildings or I should say. And you'll get wired home internet for free, no cost, for free. So we are super excited about that. We're actively promoting it. We're actively ensuring that folks who are aware of the program are signing up. And that's just one solution, right? And that gets to the heart of people who have been underserved for so many years. We have a number of other initiatives, which include our Link 5G program. So I don't know if anyone's familiar, but we've installed these Link kiosks on city streets that replace people. And so they provide free Wi-Fi, secure Wi-Fi, secure Wi-Fi to people within the city. And they're also providing 5G services as well. So if you have a cellular phone that has much connection, you'll be able to connect to that. And what we're doing with how it ties back to equity, 90% of all those new structures that are going in that provide 5G and Wi-Fi are going to be in areas outside of Manhattan. So above 96th Street in Manhattan, and all the surrounding world. get ties back to every single thing we're doing. For example, we have a mobile telecommunication franchise, which allows wireless companies to have street light poles, to install 5G antennas to support their 5G networks. And we make that a priority, that 75% of all people are outside the port. So again, it goes back to everything we're doing in this administration, ensuring that people that receive the lead get the most.
Thank you, Brett. Sounds pretty helpful, right? I can absolutely see how that is going to be, like you said, these are some of the steps, baby steps into it, but they're fantastic, starting, making some step change in our community and helping families, like Beverly. Just as we think about expanding that level of digital access to the community, we think about, there are a lot of good people out there, but what about there, and how we want to make sure that we're doing it safe with so many more people having digital access and people that maybe haven't had as much access as we have. Talking to our cybersecurity expert, Mr. Donovan, what can you talk to us about some of the best practices?
So, with those initiatives, I think it'd be important to include a little bit of cyber education, right? So, MFA, multi-factor authentication, or two-factor authentication on all their accounts, starting with their ISP accounts, rather than internet service provider accounts, would be a great way to do things that way. Security, like, hey, secure this account while you're at it, and also password managers are managers can help. Really heavily encrypted is very hard to hack. If you can hack that, you're not that. But say very that great. But scam is another thing. Don't fall for the scams. Programs like that, the bad guys, they type of programs. They target the vulnerable, the people that don't know about IT. So just be vulnerable.
And just talking a little bit about, again, the progress and making sure we're safe, but also a lot of the things that listed giving you access to it and hopefully helping progress in the right direction. We talked about, like you already mentioned, the laptop and things like that, how that sort of progressed your digital aspect.
Yeah, so having a toddler that thinks she's an adult is kind of hard.
I got one of those.
So as soon as she would see me even try to attempt to get on anything visible, mommy, I'm working too. I need a computer too. So an extra device that was available, and that was a kind of a backup, Lyft provided that for me. So I was able to graduate with my undergrad degrees on MD and Y with human services. So I was able to complete my degree with that. I was able to get the support from my Lyft coach if I had any questions, concerns regarding the device, regarding the transition from Microsoft into Google. She was like my cheerleader, my backup person that I needed at the time for any little thing. It was like, stuck, how do I transfer this? How do I do this? So just having Lyft as a support was like so big, especially in undergrad, because I've been out of school for maybe 15 years or so. So transitioning from where everything was so normal pre-pandemic, and then boom, pandemic just hit, shut down, remote everything. She's not in school, she's not in daycare, and everything is just, you're stuck home, trying to figure things out. Everybody's home, so I can't even get away from the people in the house. I can't even go outside, especially when it was like completely shut down. It was so hard. It was like, I need some type of support. So I was looking forward to meeting my coach on a monthly, weekly basis, just to kind of get away. I would just sit out front, talk to them, bring the laptop outside, have a fresh face that wasn't in the home, and just having somebody to support you was just so amazing, especially at the height of the pandemic, when it was like really, really bad. I would always look forward, like, all right, what time is that? Okay, it's time to step outside and talk to my coach and get on the computer and just try to manage. And this was definitely there for the manage.
It absolutely takes a village. It takes a village on a normal day. It definitely takes a village coming out of a global pandemic that none of us were prepared for, where the whole world became digital and you became a daycare teacher and a full-time mom and a full-time employee and all the things. So definitely can relate to that, absolutely. So sounds like you're getting some of the support you need, but what are some of the challenges that you think yourself and other New Yorkers might still need some support in?
Well, as the other panelists mentioned, the support in getting the technology. Not just, here's a laptop, what if something happens to the laptop? So as we have insurance for our home, maybe insurance for the devices being provided. Maybe, as being a parent, being home, being a mom, a cook, everything under the sun, having some type of maybe resources for parents that are home with their kids. The kids have more days out of school as being than in school. And then sometimes I'm at work, I have work from home days, but I have my child as well because she's off from school. So maybe some type of assistance virtually, maybe a virtual nanny that can assist and kind of provide some type of additional support for the parents while at home, while working at home, another digital device that could kind of just be provided for the minor to kind of give that support when needed. Something like a digital nanny, I would say. Yeah, I need one of those. Right, keep them busy, keep them occupied a little bit, so us parents can kind of do what we need to do and then we go together.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you've shared a lot of challenges as well as a lot of opportunities as well. Just maybe back to you, Fred, can you share more about some of the opportunities, strategic partnerships and things that might be able to address some of them?
Yeah, sure, and it's really point, just providing access to the internet is not enough, right? I mean, that's just one component of it. What do you do when you have it, right? How does it help you in your life and your family's lives? So that's why the city has created this Connected Communities program, which works with local people, grassroots companies, who know their communities best, who tailor programs to the needs of their communities. So we're funding them, we're providing support to keep them going. We're bringing them together with cities who have expertise in those areas. So like the New York City Parks Department, for example, they have programs to help people learn basic Microsoft Office. That before, get familiar with Word and PowerPoint, and give them those skills that they need to either expand their knowledge base or just upskill in general for whatever they need it for. The Department for the Aging works with the older adult community to give them the skills they need. We're giving them the internet, which is great, and we're super happy to do that, and we want to see ways to expand that. But what do they do with it? Do they need services that are tailored to them, such as help with digital voice assistants, right? And that would be useful for, I know, my older family members ask me all the time, what do I ask Alexa? I want to know what time it is in Japan. And just ask Alexa, but they don't know that. You have to know who's there. In the online cooking class, it's like the Department of Aging works with them on very specific tailored programs to do that. The Department for the Youth Community Development is working with at-risk youth, giving them access to programs, after-school programs, so they can do homework, to keep themselves occupied. But yeah, so in terms of providing all these services, it's not just a one solution problem, right? This is not one solution problem. There are many, and we're working kind of holistically to figure out ways to do that. We have a wonderful, super dedicated team at OTI, New York City Office of Technology and Innovation, to work with those community partners like New York, like the Bronx Community Foundation, some wonderful partners here in the Bronx and throughout the city that we want to work with. We encourage them to come to us. If they have ideas of how we can partner with them to come up with some creative solutions, or we can do the outreach and work with them. But we want to be that bridge to the needs of the communities and what the city can provide with services.
And as I shared earlier, I mean, we feel strongly here at Liberty Coca-Cola that we should play a large role in supporting all of these efforts within our community. Especially to you, Jonathan, what are some of the ways that that Liberty Coca-Cola is fostering an inclusive and safe environment in the digital space for not only staff here, but our partners and our community?
Well, we definitely try to work with a lot of vendors and third parties that work with us. We offer scorecards basically to try to improve their securities, their infrastructures, basically to give them a little bit of our knowledge, provide them with our best practices, in hopes that universally we all become more secure and more connected, but secure. Um, it's a challenge, you know, because change is hard for some folks. Change can be cost, can be, you know, changing of minds. It's a challenge overall, but we're working on it. We have done a tremendous job. I feel like sometimes it's a battle, but overall, I think we're doing a good job.
Absolutely. I mean, I even from my side, I could say a big part of something I'm passionate about at Liberty, and I make sure to include in a lot of our work and our sessions and even how we hire and employ. I obviously don't see gender when I hire, but you'll notice there are a lot of really strong leaders, female leaders in this room. And I'm very proud of that, and a very diverse team, and a very, and if you ask any of these men who the real bosses are, it's definitely the strong leading women, and it's not me, but these young ladies here that are our future, current and future leaders in the organization, and we do a lot around supporting our communities and interns and all these types of programs, and so excited to be coming out of this pandemic to have more opportunities to bring people back in. We paused some of those programs a little bit for safety reasons, you know, just not bringing additional folks into the facilities, but so much of what we're passionate about is partnering, serving, and just finding ways. We don't know the answers necessarily, but we're so eager to be part of the conversation to figure it out together. We're all trying to figure it out together. I know me personally, I went on maternity leave in the end of 2019, came back in April of 2020 to, you know, leading an IT organization in a global pandemic. Where all of a sudden they're like, okay, stay home, figure out how to get our entire organization to be working remote and figure out how to still be productive. You can't go here, you can't do this, you gotta run cables here, but you can't be there in person, but you gotta do this. And this fantastic team that they all made it happen, and we just kind of figured it out. And I was a new mom, same situation, got a baby, there's no daycare, what do I do? And all these people are looking to me for answers. I don't know the answers, there's no playbook for this, I don't even know how to be a mom. You want me to figure out how to run an organization like this? And you know what, we held hands and we did it together, and that's a big part of what we see our role with the community. We'll figure it out together. Let's lean on each other, let's support each other, and I'm funny too, I know. I jokes kind of threw me off. As we talk about, you know, just the sustainable career pathways, and getting ready for the workplace, can we talk to you maybe, Beverly, a little bit about just employment opportunities and training and things like that, and what do you need as far as support?
Well, definitely, more, aside from Lyft, maybe more third-party vendors that can use support to Lyft. So Lyft can provide the computer, laptop, but what about the internet? What about maybe training, virtually or in person now that the world is kind of opening back up? Yeah, so one of those things, like, as far as Lyft, they can be the forefront, but I think other organizations can get on the bandwagon as well and provide additional support for Lyft and the members of Lyft as far as the technology, the transferring of services. Not everybody is able to pay their internet bill. Not everybody does have the support of knowing how to use a computer. So when I was transitioning, even though, yeah, I've had computers in the past, but Chromebooks are kind of different. So if you don't know what you're doing, you're still going to get lost in the thought, even though you have the computer there to do what it needs to do. It's the person behind it that might need the additional support and getting the technology down pat and the applications down pat in order to move forward. So that's been my transition into education, I noticed that things are changing every day. What I learned yesterday from who might not happen today. It's the update, it's the upgrade. You need to understand the upgrade, the changes, and then move forward with that as well.
Some more questions for you, Fred, as well, around just what is OTI and how is OTI and the community partners, how are they thinking about this work and supporting career advancement for awesome Americans?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, you know, as I mentioned, we can provide the internet, we provide the access to services that they need. But we do rely on community partners who know their needs best, they know their needs best, they know who needs the help in what area, and we continue to support them. So we would like to link, you know, the big companies and the internet providers with people who need the services. But we do rely on folks on the ground who tell us best if they need help with upskilling or providing, you know, just basic elementary services or skills that are needed to compete in the workforce today. But yeah, I mean, ultimately it's a partnership between what the city can do, what the community, the individuals in the community, and those community partners who we speak with on an everyday basis. We have great connections. We have students who are standing by right now waiting for you know, community partners like this to call and say, what OTI, what can you do for us? We have a need in this very specific area. We can carve out a plan that attacks that need, that addresses it, provides solutions to the problem. And then we get creative. We do that. We bring in all the various partnerships that we have on the community level at the agency level, and then we attack it very surgically.
Then last question for you, Mr. Donovan, similarly, how is Liberty developing staff, digital skills, promoting career advancement internally and externally?
I think Liberty does a pretty good job out of that. They offer plenty of opportunities and services for us to expand our knowledge. We have a very diverse staff that has different sets of skills. Liberty allows us and encourage us to work with them, kind of to expand our knowledge. We also, going back to cyber, we try to educate our users as much as possible in cybersecurity. We do a biannual training to keep them up to date on the latest security threats, security trends, and best practices, not only the workplace, but for them to take to the home as well, and expand that knowledge enough in the home with their kids, the families, privacy issues, which to me, I don't think is, people are giving enough importance. You have a lot of social media apps, one certain one that I don't like too much, but I feel like a lot of people are not too concerned with it, but it's good for us to educate them in that space. Liberty has allowed us to do that and definitely facilitates that. Along that as well, with our partnership with Microsoft, we also get some training opportunities with them. They have a very, very large training platform, and I'm pretty happy that Liberty is available.
Absolutely. And there is not only, we have lots of functional training opportunities on learning different areas of the business within the company. And there's, training that you can, such as the cybersecurity awareness training that you can take with you for your personal life. But as I mentioned earlier, we're getting back to getting interns back in a lot of our career development programs, mentoring programs, getting those back up and running. Reaching out and seeing people, being back with the community. It feels so good to be in the room and hug people and just shake hands and not like, are we gonna hug? Are we, I don't know, what are we doing here? And it's just nice to get back in touch with folks and really be able to connect again. Who knows what the world's gonna throw back at us again, we're sort of coming out of this pandemic, but looking forward to a strong partnership with the LIVE program, and hopefully as those career opportunities open up, hopefully being able to share with you guys, open for you guys if you need any advice, mentoring, coaching, job opportunities, internships, whatever you may need. But it's been a really great conversation, guys. Thank you so much. And before we conclude here, I'd like to open it up for any questions, Q&A.
We have plenty of time for Q&A, so.
All right, yes, Jeff.
So to Jonathan. There are a lot of password managers available out there. I know that was something we recommended for security purposes. So how do you know which ones are more secure than others? And how do you know which ones to stay away from?
Maybe just repeat the question in case people online couldn't hear.
So just in case, there's a question from the audience around, password managers, and Jonathan had mentioned earlier that to protect yourself, not only, professionally, but also personally, it'd be a great idea to have something like an encrypted password manager, but the question was, how do you know which ones are safe and which ones aren't, how to navigate it?
Yeah, and that's a good question because bad actors do take advantage of those that don't know, right? They'll publish applications on public app stores, the Apple App Store, the Android Play Store. And if you don't know, you'll download a password manager that's feeding the bad guys all your information. Luckily, the password manager developers have done a good job to provide a lot of that data, open source information. I would go for an open source password manager like Bitwarden. It's a personal favorite of mine. I use it every day. I've expanded it to my family members. You want to look for password managers that get audited, that are constantly being tested for their security practices, making sure that they're honest and forward if they do suffer a breach. So you want to look out for those, okay? But again, Bitwarden, for those who are looking for a free, easy solution, go online, go to bitwarden.com and get yourself an account. If you can afford the yearly subscription, I also highly recommend it. Very affordable as well.
Which is a thing.
I'm very passionate about them because I have been following them since the inception of it, and they honestly set the standard for other password managers as far as how public they are with their information. Again, they're open source, so anybody can go and analyze their code and make sure that they are following the best practices.
Any other questions online or in the room? Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure. So this is directed at the Office of Technology and Innovation. I had the pleasure of participating in a few of the gatherings that the Commissioner Frazier put together with other community-based organizations. And there was talk of funding coming to states to continue to support the Internet for All movement. And I just wanted to, for you to speak a little bit about sort of what opportunities you see on down the road that could be coming to New York in support of this access.
Yeah, thank you for that. So Internet for All is largely a federal subsidy program that provides a $30 credit to qualified individuals or households towards their broadband. So you can apply through whether it's your cellular provider or your cable provider, your home internet provider, you apply through them. It's a somewhat complicated process that we try to help with, but these companies have it fairly down. So you can get $30 off your bill every month. You also get a $100 credit toward a device. And we are actively promoting that program. It's something that the federal government runs down to the state, down to individual residents. So it really works as a complementary piece to what we're dealing with Big L. Big L Connect provides internet and cable service to individual households. But if you're not in NYCHA, you can apply for the Affordable Connectivity Program, ACP. So we strongly encourage folks to get out, apply for it if you're eligible. The only issue with it is that it's a relatively small amount of money that's distributed across the country. So presumably when the money runs out, that program will end. So we do view it as essential to kind of keep all the pieces in the process of everything that we're doing at the local level and everything the federal government is doing as well.
Thank you for that question. Any other questions? Crowd on the phone?
Yeah, I have a separate question, but connected to the work around career pathways. And we've talked about how it's really important to go beyond just digital access and literacy and how we connect folks to family sustaining careers and employment opportunities. The city has had a few convenings with community-based organizations, but it's also helpful to have convenings among the private sector, and particularly as we think about employer commitments and sort of, what are they going to offer to communities in terms of things like internships. And so I'd love if you could speak how Brett and even Liberty, if you could talk about some of the internship programs that you have as well. What are some of those opportunities to really encourage employers and create those connections?
Really good budget really quickly. So part of what I mentioned earlier, we wanted to solve the now problem, right? We noticed that there was a screaming need for digital services into the community today. As a long-term solution, we are looking at alternative internet service providers. So not just the traditional cable company, right? We all know you need internet and you call up the cable company and then you wire it out. But there are other companies, smaller companies that can do this work just as good, provide just as well a service as to individual households. They do need support from the city because it is a huge financial investment on their part. Installing new fiber infrastructure throughout the city, which is very, very expensive. It's a huge investment for construction. So where the city can come in and support them, provide, we have a franchise that allows information service providers, essentially internet companies, to get access to city streets to install fiber. And if they do it outside of the core of Manhattan, there's no fee for 5 years. So that helps incentivize them to build out in areas where they traditionally just cannot compete in the marketplace. And the hope is that as they build out, as they provide their services, they'll essentially be a competitor to the big guys. And with competition comes price decrease and costs will go down for individual users. But a big part of that equation is something we're working with those smaller ISPs, service providers, is to have hire digital stewards who are in the community who can help get the word out about what services that they're providing are and how they can take advantage of them. And I think that's a really low-hanging fruit, quick win we can get. Folks who live in the community engage with these local small cap companies that are in many cases MWPs and are looking to compete. And it engenders some real trust into the program that we're doing. As say, put the perspective, trust, that's really one of the impediments to what we're seeing is in terms of embracing not only Big Apple Connect, but embracing all the things we're doing. Quick story, I was out at my Haven Houses a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, to sign people up for Big Apple Connect. I was out there, we had big tents and tables set up and face painting with kids and giveaways for anyone who wanted them. We had this big sign that said free internet, wanted people to come over and sign. We couldn't get people to sign up, right? I mean, there was this inherent distrust of what city has done or has not done for them over this long history. Big company, Altice or Optimum is out there. They don't trust them. So it took a while to gain that trust. We had to go back multiple times. We had to sign people up. We had to speak to their neighbors and say, this is real, right? This is a real program. We are benefiting from it. We are getting the service. And it took a while to gain that trust. And I think that's ultimately what it is, why I mentioned the digital stewards, having people in the community that have a sense of how to talk to their neighbors, what they expect, what they need to see, and we'll rely on that.
I can share a little bit more just around Liberty, and as I mentioned earlier, what we're doing around internship programs and career development and things. Obviously, a lot of those things were on pause during the pandemic as we were trying to figure out how to navigate through that for ourselves. But now we're kind of getting back into it. We're very passionate about career development paths for our employees, specifically the youth and people that are passionate about our brands and about serving our communities, things like that. But I can proudly kind of brag on one of our internship success stories that's in the room, the lovely Ms. McIntyre, that actually started with us as an intern many years ago, and then joined us as a business intelligence developer, and has now been just getting her hands in everything, including being one of the main leads in setting this program up for us today, and has been recognized as one of the top 10 employees in the company as most people with high potential. And so it's just really beautiful to see our superstar interns that is growing up right in front of our eyes. And she's just one of our many success stories that we've had here in our paid internships. That we are getting back up and setting up now. We have career fairs and all of those things that we're starting to do again in person. Again, we were trying to figure out how to navigate through that during the pandemic, but all of those things are obviously things that we will be sharing with the LIFT program and opening up to all of you. And honestly, we're all ears. So anything that we're still figuring it out. We're still a baby company. We're celebrating our 5th birthday in 2 weeks. Happy birthday to us. And so we're super excited, but we're still trying to figure it out. So we can help be a part of that solution and tell us what you know, just even the conversation today, hearing from you, Beverly, what you need, hearing from you, what you guys are doing. It's got our brains, you know, thinking about how we can better partner with you to be part of the solution. So, you know, we've got the internship programs getting stood back up, the career fairs, our Liberty Careers website, and all of that kind of information is out there, but happy to share that with you guys and all ears for how we can better partner for the future.
And just one quick thing, I believe this is your space, it's cybersecurity awareness month.
It is cybersecurity awareness month.
And not directly in my world, but I do know the city, the chief technology officer has encouraged people to get into the cybersecurity world, right? And I believe the applications are relatively minimal in terms of getting in, getting your foot in the door. I believe there's a cyber academy that we're working with partners on to get people to recruit for that industry, get them businesses that huge need clearly.
Yes.
And it sounds like it's not just the city, but you know, nationally and locally. So yeah, so we're doing a whole lot on that front to get into the mix.
That's awesome. Yeah, the cyber demand for cyber professionals is huge right now. You'd be surprised how in need these companies are. They're realizing that the future is on the internet, finally, and we need to secure it. There's not enough of us out there. So please, if you're interested in cyber,
Don't go.
if you're interested in cybersecurity or in IT, there's different things you can do. You don't have to be a blue team is what we call them, a protector, somebody who protects an asset. You could try to be the bad guy, right? You could be the red team if you like to hack and you want to learn how to do that kind of stuff. There's many programs, like you mentioned, that will help you for free. There's content online for free on YouTube. One of the YouTuber creators that I really like his content is the Cyber Mentor. Go on there, check his content out. You will love it if you're into cybersecurity. And if you're just into IT, Professor Messer, also on YouTube, a lot of free content that will help you get, or if you pass, obviously, get the CompTIA certifications, A+, Net+, Security+. And there's another one coming out. Can't remember the name, but they basically have, CompTIA has 3 certificates they call the trifecta, the Network Plus, Security Plus, and A+. With those 3 certificates, you're pretty much ready for most sectors in the IT world, including cybersecurity, and the companies will love you if you have those kind of certificates. Not required, but definitely helpful.
And if there are, I mean, obviously there are so many various components of IT and technology, and there's cybersecurity is kind of the hot spot right now. But there are obviously all the other areas of business intelligence or operations, infrastructure, different types of solutions. And if there are any areas that your participants are interested in, or, happy to help provide access to those types of free trainings that are out there, or any kind of training that we can help facilitate as well.
I have a question around that actually, and it's for Beverly. So Beverly, we're talking a lot about all the different ways that people can be supported to keep up with how the digital space is expanding and changing, as Jonathan was speaking about. Beverly, how would you like to see LIFT expand their support in the digital and tech sector to set parents up for success in the future, whether it be educational or career?
Well, I came across this, like I mentioned before, at school. So the awareness, I don't think a lot of people know about this. So having that awareness and investing in LIFT, so us parents can expand, we can get more resources for all New Yorkers. I think publicizing what LIFT does, being able to have a support, is definitely needed, because not a lot of people know about it. I even told one of my friends, they're like, what? LIFT what? I'm like, I have a personal coach I live in, like a coach. What does that do? So sitting down and explaining the whole process to them, they're able to see that support is always needed, not just a family friend or somebody close to you that's going to listen to you or judge you. Being able to have somebody that, for me, the takeaway was having somebody that wasn't related to me, able to give me some type of insight from the outside in. So I think having lived, having somebody support listen, putting them out there would be definitely a way to, expand and have things put lists on the map.
Yeah, I'd like to just add that, Lift New York recognizes, one of the themes that has come out of this discussion is the need to really put the power in the people's hands, in the community's hands, and have them actually be the representatives of their communities. And so Lift New York is actively, procuring and applying for opportunities that create paid opportunities for Lift members to go out and advocate in the community. And that's something that we're very excited to continue to pursue. And I think it speaks to some of what Beverly is saying, where we really want to make sure that folks have the resources and support to really do that in their communities. But I'm curious to hear from you, Beverly, as part of this conversation. Is there anything else specific that you want to see? We've talked a little bit about career fairs, and that's something that Lyft is in the process of planning with other community organizations. But are there specific employers or specific training programs that not even just you specifically, but parents that you've talked to, things that you feel like are in demand?
Yeah, so like a digital workforce. So everybody knows about workforce one. Everybody wants to go there. What if you can't go to a fair? Something digital, I would say, the ability to have a resource online. Everything is digital, maybe an app or something where parents, students like myself is able to log on really quickly and see what's available. Having somebody to push with your resume building. Highlighting a specific area on your resume so you can get hired. The keywords and phrases that are needed on the resume. I think all of these things can be done digitally and can empower families like myself to move forward.
Questions going on?
I have one more question for Beverly. Beverly, you spoke about your undergrad a little bit earlier about your education goals and, navigating using your laptop from Lyft with your kids as well. Can you speak more about your education goals? I know that we said at the top of the call that you're in grad school right now. How was that journey for you, and what does progress look like in your education goals since you joined Lyft?
Having that support and having my cheerleader, Lyft coach, egg me on, I didn't stop. So I believe I graduated last year in December, and I enrolled immediately for grad school with Lehman. Right after. So I'm actually should be graduating next year in the summer. So 1-year program. And I just have the support of Lyft. Like any little thing, I know I'm able to shoot a text, video call. I have the access to my coach when needed, as needed, and it's just been a great help.
Primers in the position, please. Primers in the position, please. Primers in position, please.
We're in a functional facility.
Sorry, we are in a Coca-Cola distribution center policy there.
Yeah, so having Lyft, just provide the laptop, having resources and being able to explain if I needed, an outlet or a resource, I wasn't alone. My coach would be there like, all right, we're gonna work on this. We're gonna do this together, but we're gonna figure it out. I have tips and tricks because, the Lyft members, the Lyft, coaches are as well going to school. So they have resources that I didn't even know about when it came to education. So having just that go-to person when it came to education and the technology has just been so great. I didn't feel that I had to stop and take a break. It's like, okay, you still have a little bit and you keep going. So I'm going.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Yeah. So I heard you guys talk a lot about, Beverly mentioned resumes and career fairs, and And Jonathan touched on, a lot of IT training and certification opportunities. You mentioned a little bit about training. There are a lot of community-based organizations, like right here in the Bronx, but in all the boroughs, right, that do a lot of these things that offer services to adults and to young adults, have in-school, out-of-school programs, young adults going to college for the first time. How can you, is there training that provides some kind of resource or service for community-based organizations, and have you guys reached out to partner with some of these small organizations that could definitely use the resources you provide, internet access services, those types of things?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, totally. And part of it, I think, actually meeting with the CTO himself, I think that was the first foray to understanding what Lyft does, and great work you guys do. And there's got to be dozens of other, just in the Bronx, other organizations that do a similar, provide a similar service, that have the outreach to the community. And we want to hear from them, right? I mean, we would love to be proactive and go into the community and find these individuals and these community groups. But I think they really do need to come to us, let us know who you are, what your needs are, and we'll try to match you up with the city agency that does provide those services. OTI itself doesn't necessarily provide the service that we talked about. We just kind of bridge that gap between what the needs are and which agency can provide the service. We talked about the libraries. There are over 200 libraries throughout the city we're funding programs that get those services out to the community, help people with resumes, help people just get the basic literacy, digital literacy skills that they need. Talk again about the parks department, after school programs. So it's really agencies who know the constituents the best, who can tailor the program to their needs. But we want to hear from you. As you get this information, spread it out to other partners in the industry. Come to us, we'll match up. As I mentioned, we have a team of wonderful, dedicated civil servant, Michael McDermott, whose only job is to match people up with their, with the needs for digital services, with the agencies and the organizations that provide it. So please come to us. We'll try to find you if we can, but come on over to OTI and we'll get you connected.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add on Lyft New York's part that we're actively participating in a relatively new coalition called the Bronx Leadership and Organizing Center that was launched about 6 to 12 months ago. And we're in the process of planning a career fair in November. And one of the current decision-making points is which organizations to invite from the Bronx. And so I'd love to connect with you after this. And make sure that you're part of that, because there are so many organizations doing this work, and Lyft New York can't do it alone.
We have another question in the chat on Zoom here, and this is for Beverly. Has there been a defining moment, Beverly, since you joined Lyft, that has been pivotal in helping you get to where you are now?
I think getting the Chromebook has been a big step, because I'm able to access anything that I need on the go. So having that availability, aside from just a cell phone or a tablet, being able to be at work or any given time, just be able to log in and do what I have to do, has been a great asset for me. Without the Chromebook, I don't think I would be able to really navigate.
Nate Strickland, Jeremy, Nate Strickland, Jeremy, DPS, Nate Strickland, what is that? Nate Strickland, Jeremy, DPS.
I'm not even sure what they said. Yeah, so as I was stating, having a Chromebook and accessibility on the go at any given time, especially just being fully remote. So I graduated with classes fully remote. So at any given time, a professor may be like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm like, I'm driving, but I have my laptop, so I'm pull over and I'm gonna send that to you right now. So having that accessibility has been great.
Wonderful.
Any other questions? No further questions. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We're very proud and honored to be part of this discussion and part of the journey to better support our community. We thank you all. We hope to take this beginning. We appreciate it, all your time. Thank you.